Let's look at demand and talk first about the law of demand. The law of demand shows a relationship between the price and the quantity demanded. As the price increases, the quantity demanded falls, all else being equal. This means we hold all other variables constant when we look at this graph. So for that reason, this graph is going to be a downward sloping curve. So let's see what it would look like. This would be the quantity demanded, and this would be the price. And so we have this downward sloping demand curve. So right away we see a difference between demand and the quantity demanded. That's going to be super important to understand. So when we talk about demand, we're going to say it's a relationship. When we talk about quantity demanded, we're going to say it's the amount that we want at each price. So let's say this price happens to be $10 and this quantity happens to be 20. We're saying that the quantity demanded is 20. That's not demand, that's quantity demanded. Because we're saying at a price of 10, that's how much we want. But when we say, okay, does the demand curve slope down? Then we're saying it's a relationship because it's the entire graph that we're looking at. Now let's look at supply. And here we see that it's the reverse of what we saw for demand. So the law of supply states that the relationship between price and quantity is such that if price increases, quantity supplied is also increasing. So this curve is upward sloping this time. Of course, we want to also say all else remaining constant. That means we hold every other factor the same. We're just focusing on price and the quantity. So again, there's a difference between supply and the quantity supplied. The supply is the entire graph, the entire relationship, while the quantity supplied is the amount we want to produce or sell when a price is a certain value, like $10. So at a price of $10, these producers want to sell 30 units of this good. Next, we talk about the market equilibrium. And equilibrium here means the balance. So at this point, neither buyer nor seller wants to do anything. So let's see why E0 is considered the market equilibrium. Let's say we happen to be above that. Let's say we happen to be at a price of 10 and we happen to be over here. So the market is out of whack because the quantity supplied, which is what this number is going to be when you go down here, is greater than the quantity demanded. So because of this, there's too many goods on the market. And so what's going to happen is that the stores are going to have to offer discounts and sell this item. And so the price is going to fall all the way down towards the equilibrium. Okay, so this is considered a surplus that's going to exist if we are above the equilibrium. Let's say we happen to be below the equilibrium. Let's say this is 8. So we happen to be down here. In this case, we have the quantity demanded is bigger than the quantity supplied. And so for that reason, we're going to have long lines because this is a shortage. So we have long lines because more buyers than sellers. And so because of that, some buyers might get creative and buy the goods and then resell it to other customers. And so for that reason, the price is going to be bid higher. And so the price is going to be bid up towards the equilibrium. And so we see that market forces act to bring us back to equilibrium. So this is what we mean by market forces. And this is what Adam Smith was talking about, when he mentioned the whole idea of the invisible hand theorem. The invisible hand theorem. So there we go.